What's up, guys? That's here bringing you guys something a little bit different. Today I got a request to make a team based off these 6 Pokemon you see here from the Boss of Enemy Esports, and yeah, I looked at the team and I thought, well, like, this actually doesn't look like a terrible team. It actually looks like a pretty good team, not a lot of shared weaknesses. The only real big weakness I see is Ice, and there's a Mega Venusaur to take care of that. So I figured I would just make the team on Showdown and, give a little copy-paste of the import-export link, and yeah, he'd have a great team to play with on Showdown. This is a singles team for those wondering. Yeah, you guys see like the Keldeo-Resolute in there. So definitely this is a singles OU team, so we're going to get right into it and start off with Bisharp, his #1 Pokemon. Great pick. It actually, I think, is better in VGC, but we're just going to use it in singles here. I really recommend a Focus Sash here. Focus Sash is going to leave you at 1 HP if you're at full when getting hit. This is the best item for it in doubles, and I still think this is the best item for it in singles. I personally believe that every team should have a Focus Sash user, so this is where I'm going to put the Sash in this team. It's not required if you want to put, let's say, a Life Orb or a Lemberry or even a Choice Bound down here. That's definitely up to you. You can do that, there's no problem there. I really just recommend that Sash because it lets it trade with a lot of Pokemon it normally wouldn't be able to trade with. Like, let's say, Landorus, or it lets you trade with Metagross a lot better. It lets you trade with Heatran 100% of the time, so it lets you guarantee the trade and then throw like a yellow Sucker Punch off at the next Pokemon. So its ability, it's going to be Defiant. It's going to raise its attack by 2 for each of its stats that are lowered. So moves like Icy Wind, abilities like Intimidate are going to activate this ability. Super great. It's obviously his best ability in this format. Going into moves, I think his best move, well, let's just start with Sucker Punch. We're going to Sucker Punch here. It's a priority move, and it usually goes first, but it fails if the user is not using an attacking move. So if they're using Thunder Wave, this will fail. But if they're using Thunderbolt, this will hit. So if they're using a move that does damage, Sucker Punch will go first and it will hit. Has 80 base power, it's stabbed, super strong. Next move, probably going to be the move you use most often, is going to be Knock Off. So it does 1.5 to damage if the foe is holding an item, and it also removes the item. So when you send this guy out, because you have a Sash, you're not going to need to go for like Sucker Punches or anything like that. You're going to be able to just go for a really strong knockoff, can do 1.5 to damage, can be stabbed, and it's going to one-shot most things that aren't walls. So knockoff is probably the best move this guy has. Remember, he is a Dark Steel type, so we're going to then throw Iron Head on there. So Iron Head has 30% chance to flinch, 80 base power. Really great move, just shuts down Pokemon like Sylveon and other really good fairies. Nothing much to say about this move. I feel that you need it, but we'll see. I don't use it that often. It's really only good in... It's a lot better in doubles, let's just say that. But you still need it because it is a stabbed move. And let's look at the last move, because normally that is Protect in doubles, but in singles things change up a bit. You could go with Taunt. He actually gets Thunder Wave, which is really cool. I'm probably just going to put Swords Dance on there. But we're just looking around, because you always, if you can, you always want to try and throw one, like, really tech move on these guys. But I think we're just going to go with Swords Dance. Swords Dance is probably one of the better moves to put here. It's going to raise your attack by 2 stages. If they, like, let's say you send Bisharp out to like check their Pokemon, and you know they're going to switch, you can pop a Swords Dance, or because you're Sash, you can always just pop the Swords Dance and make them leave. Whatever. Swords Dance is going to go off. They're either going to switch or clock your Sash, then you're just going to one-shot their whole team with Sucker Punch. Pretty self-explanatory. So you can go with this bulky sweeper set. You can just click this suggested spread button. But since you have a Sash, I really don't recommend it. I recommend that you go 252 into attack and 252 in speed instead. You're going to try and be as fast as possible because HP doesn't really matter because you have a Sash. And then you're just going to need to put your 4 points somewhere else. You put that in HP. Don't know why I made that jolly. Always want to be adamant with this guy and make him obviously take away that special attack. Make him adamant. Use this suggested spread. If you really want to be bulkier, I suggest, like, if you're gonna take the Focus Sash off, I suggest putting the rest in HP. But with this Sash set, I really think that this is the best spread. So on a Clefable, pretty much one of the main tanks of the team. Clefable's in almost every OU team right now. So we're going to start off with getting Leftovers on it. At the end of the turn, restore an 16th of your HP. Pretty good item. Going on to abilities, Q-Charm is not that good, but Magic Guard and Unaware are really good. So this is really up to you. This is totally your call here. You can go for Magic Guard, so you won't take damage from Toxic or anything like that. Or you can go with Unaware. It ignores all their stat changes. So let's say they're at +6, they have the most strongest, they've Dragon Danced 6 times or gotten whatever stat boost off. You completely ignore that. And currently right now in the meta, with how like big sweeping still is, I think Unaware is the best one. Like I said, you can totally change that. That is your own call, but most people will go with Unaware. So what we're going to do is we're going to put, we're going to start things off. Does it get soft-boiled still? Yeah. So we're going to go soft-boiled. Basic move, just stores 50% of your HP. Kind of need that on a wall like this. Next one's going to be Calm Mind. Calm Mind raises your special attack and special defense by 1 stage. Really, really good move. It's going to be the cornerstone of this Clefable set. Next one is going to be that Stabbed Moonblast. And Moonblast, 30% chance to lower their special attack by 1, 95 base power, kind of like, you know, a very Ice Beam or Thunderbolt or Flamethrower. Pretty good moves, and you stab it, so it's going to be your strongest attack. Last move, there's a bunch of other moves you could have here. You could have like Aromatherapy, which would like cure your whole team. That's generally up to you. You could also have moves like Charge Beam or Cosmic Power. Bunch of cool stuff. There's also Encore. There's a bunch of really cool moves Clefable gets, but I really think that if you're a newer player and like this Clefable is going to be one of the Pokemon you have out most of the time, they're going to try and check it with like a Scizor or like a Ferrothorn. So you probably just want to go with Flamethrower. Also, it's affected by the Calm Mind. You have great coverage with both Flamethrower and Moonblast, so pretty good move with Flamethrower right there. Like I said, you can only change that up into like Aromatherapy or Heal Bell or something like that if you choose to. We're actually going to go with the suggested spread for the most part here. You mostly want to be HP defense. Remember, Calm Mind is going to be there to boost your special attack and a special defense, so you don't really need anything else. I'm also going to take this off there and put it down here, just so you would outspeed other Clefables in a mirror match. That's generally the Clefable spread most people use nowadays. You can change it up a lot, but this is the easiest spread to use, and it's going to give you the most bang for your buck. Going into Hippowdon, this is just going to, generally, he said this was going to be his lead. I didn't really agree with it. I think Tyranitar is a better Pokemon, but we'll just go with Hippowdon for now. We're going to throw lefties on it. Sandstream, obviously going to start in Sandstorm whenever it comes on the board. We're going to go with Slack Off. Get that Stabbed Earthquake in there. And we're going to throw Stealth Rocks on there. Always want to get Stealth Rocks up for whenever things come out. I actually don't like Stealth Rocks or Hazards anymore. I think they take too long to set up and they're too easily taken away. But if you want Stealth Rocks, go for it. And last move, normally you would want to see Whirlwind here, but or Toxic. I'm actually going to throw Whirlwind on there. Or sorry, yeah, he gets Whirlwind. Cool. Let's just throw Whirlwind on there. Now let's throw Roar. Roar's way cooler. So we're going to throw Roar on there. The way this is going to work, you're going to send this guy out. And you're going to pop a Stealth Rocks, and if they hit you, use Slack Off, and if they're weak to Earthquake, use Earthquake. Other than that, you're just going to spam Roar, and make them take a ton of Stealth Rocks damage turn and turn over again. This guy is a great phaser. If they have a Pokemon that is behind a sub, or has a bunch of stat boost, and you don't really want to send a Clefable out, you can send this guy out, usually eat at least one attack, and then roar them out, and it's pretty easy to like get rid of potential sweeps that way. We're actually going to click the suggested spread, because it is what you want to use here. Yeah, full HP defense, guy's a huge physical tank, and I wouldn't, like I said, I know you want this to be your lead, but actually probably would not lead with this guy all that often. I would probably lead with Latias, but we'll just see what happens. If you want to lead with this guy, it's just really predictable to lead with him, so if they have any Pokemon that really hard check him, they're always going to lead with it, so you got to expect them to do that and try and check with something else. So really safe Pokemon in Hippowdon right here. Next Pokemon, one of my favorites, Keldeo-Resolute. He said he wanted a Choice Scarf on it. I've ran a Choice Scarf on this guy for a few years, so I think it's really good. Justified's never really going to come into play, so we're just not even going to look at it. Since he's Choice Scarf, you want to only have moves that do damage. So normally you want to go with Scald. Scald is actually better than Surf, I think, just because of the 30% chance to burn. Most people will go with Surf, but I really do think that Scald is a better move. You want Hydro Pump. Hydro Pump's 110 base power, 80% accuracy, kind of iffy, but generally super strong. Next you want Icy Wind. He actually doesn't get like Ice Beam or anything, so Icy Wind, great move to use late game when you know they're going to switch to something. So if you know they're going to switch and you know that your Scalds won't do any damage, you can always pop an Icy Wind, so they'll come in at a -1 speed, so really, really good. And last move, you probably want Secret Sword as best attack. Right here, 85 base power, and it hits their defensive stat over their special defense stat, so it makes you a mixed sweeper. This is one of the best Pokemon in the game right now. Keldeo is super strong. So you're going to click that suggested spread button, because that's generally correct. Most time, you're actually going to use the suggested spread button in OU. In VGC, it changes completely. And it's going to give you a Timid Nature. If you want to go modest, you can, but there's so many Keldeos running around right now that I really suggest that you go with the Timid Nature. So pretty easy to use Pokemon. He's Scarf, just use moves to do damage and you'll be good. Latias, one of my favorite Pokemon. We're going to give it a Lefties. I was almost going to give it Latias Sight. So Lefties, Levitate. Now this Pokemon is one of the best things. It can do almost anything. It's so fast, it's so bulky, it's so strong. Latias can do so much. Or sorry, Latias. We're going to start off with Recover. Recover is one of the main moves on this guy. We're going to go Calm Mind. We're then going to go Substitute. This is where it gets really cool. And then the last move is going to be Dragon Pulse. So there's a million ways to run this Pokemon, but this is the set that is going to give you the most value here. It's a lot like your Clefable set, but it's very one-dimensional, and it's the best thing to use against walls. If things want to set up, you send this Latias out, you pop a Substitute. Most of the time, they're not going to be able to break your Substitute. And then you pop a Calm Mind, and then you start tearing them up with Dragon Pulse. Now, like I said, this set is very, very one-dimensional. If they have a Fairy type in their team, it's not going to be able to be used that often. So if you want to change up this set, you definitely can. You can take off Calm Mind. You could take off Substitute. You can put Defog. You can also put another move like, let's look at it. It gets like Thunderbolt, it gets Draco Meteor, it gets Energy Ball. What else does it get? It gets Roar as well. It gets Tailwind, that's actually kind of cool. It gets Thunder Wave. There's a million moves this guy gets, but the set that has been standard for years is the Calm Mind Substitute set. Yeah, so this is the set that I really recommend, because I really do feel that it is the safest set. The reason why this set works best on Latias is because you can do this. You can go 252 in speed and 252 in HP, and the reason why this is really good is because Latias is going to be able to pop the fastest Substitute ever. Even most sweepers won't be able to break this thing, because it's faster than literally everything in the meta. You don't even need to put all your speed set in it. You actually don't even need to put any speed set in if you don't want to. You can go full HP defense, give it that bold, put the last 4 right there, and it's really just a great Pokemon. It can do so much, so I really want you to make this Pokemon whatever you want to make it. I'm just giving you the definite default set. And remember, this set is so old. It's been the standard set for years, so this is before Fairy types. So if you want to take off Dragon Pulse and put on Psyshock, you definitely can do that. There's nothing wrong with that. Let's actually just do that. Let's just put on Psychic, actually. So let's look at it like that. If you want to leave it like this, go for it. If you want to change it, it's completely up to you. This is just a standard set that is stood the test of time. Last Pokemon is going to be his Mega. It's going to be Mega Venusaur. We're actually going to go with Chlorophyll for your regular ability. Sometimes you're not going to want to Mega Evolve originally. You're just going to sit there on Chlorophyll and be super fast. If they already have a Sun going and like no Fire Pokemon to take advantage of anymore, you're probably just going to want to abuse your Chlorophyll because it's going to double your speed in the Sun for the first while Sun's out. We're going to go with Giga Drain, your super standard strong grass attack stabbed move. Then Sludge Bomb just to check those fairies. And your last 2 moves, well, you normally want to have Leech Seed on there. And no, normally I would put Synthesis on here. I think Synthesis is the best move, but recently I saw an article written where someone used, instead of Leech Seed, they used Knockoff for switch-ins. I still think Leech Seed is the better move, but Knockoff is a very original move, and I think it's really cool. I might start testing that in another like episode, something. I might start testing that on ladder later this year, but we're just gonna put Synthesis on here because it's generally just restores 50% of your health. Most of the time, if it's like Sandstorming, it restores 33. If it's Sunny, it restores 75%. So that's the general Venusaur moveset, and it's pretty strong. It's pretty good. We're then gonna go. How do we want to Eevee this thing? I wonder how you want to make Venusaur, because the standard Venusaur looks a lot like this. Not that. The standard Venusaur looks a lot like that. I realize that I'm not showing you like all the stats, am I ever? Let's scroll down a little bit. I guess we can't scroll down. Anyways, the standard Venusaur, you can see it in the top. You can see it over here. Has 252 in HP, 252 special attack. That's modest. It's pretty lame. It's pretty lame because Venusaur is super bulky, and this one's made to attack things. And since I think you're generally on the newer side of being competitive, I think this is probably just the best set for you. Venusaur is, if I were to build one, I'd probably build one like full HP, then mostly defense and special D, just because I know what I can take, and I want to use Leech Seed. I figure since if you're going to be sending this thing out, you're probably going to be attacking with it most often, so I'm going to give you full special attack. It still works great this way. You just can't fight Pokemon like Garchomp 1v1, and no one uses Garchomp anymore. So this is the team, has that has that Bisharp, Clefable, Hippowdon, Keldeo, Latias, and Venusaur. You can change up any of these sets. All I did was give you these standard sets for each Pokemon with their standard EV spreads. So feel free to make them your own, but remember, just don't throw moves on things that don't need to be there. So like Iron Tail on Hippowdon is a bad idea. Like, what is it? Moves that aren't stabbed on things, for the most part, are generally a bad idea in singles. Latias can get away with running like Ice Beam and like Thunderbolt and stuff, but for the most part you want to stick to moves that have the same type as the Pokemon that are using them. So I hope you have a bunch of luck with this team. I hope you hit the top of the ladder with it, and yeah, I'll see you on the ladder. Peace out.